6 months ago, I posted a video on this channel titled A New Beginning. And in that video, I explained that this is the start of my new channel. And that is the highest viewed video I have to this day. But I didn't really follow through with it. I explained that I'm going to be documenting my journey. I'm going to be sharing my lessons, and I'm going to be showing my whole journey going from, having a torn rotator cuff to the physique I want. But I strayed from that and I forgot that. And I haven't really been consistent with that. I only have 22 videos up in 6 months and I only have 9 subscribers to show for that. It's because I didn't really put in effort, right? I didn't put in effort into this channel. And so I realized that, and it really hurt me because I was like, bro, 9 subscribers in 6 months, but it's because of my own effort, right? Like, I haven't really been putting any effort into this channel. So how can I expect, God to bless me with more and more subscribers, more and more of a following if I haven't even put in my side of the work? You know what I mean? And so now I'm making this video as kind of a reference video for my own self. Every single time I do fall off, every single time I do stray from the path, I can always come back to this. But why I'm documenting this journey? Right now, as we speak, the G1M Ultra is going on. At the time I'm recording this, the BPN G1M Ultra is going on. If you don't know what that is, search it up. But basically, it's like a 4-mile loop. You run it every hour on the hour for as many hours as you possibly can. Like as many laps as you possibly can. Right? As we speak, there are 4 runners left. 4 dogs left. Kim, Kendall, Mark, and I think it's Harvey. 4 dogs left. They ran over 200 miles. 200 miles. And I was going through some of the footage right now. Going through some of the pictures, the videos, the stories on the BPN subs Instagram, right? I was going through that. And I couldn't help but get so inspired after seeing that. I couldn't help but think, damn, bro. Holy crap. These guys have put in over 200 miles. And by the way, mind you, the weather is terrible. And because this is taking place in like a ranch type location, there's mud all over the track. Mud everywhere, right? I saw, I forgot his name. I think his name was, I think he goes by MJ or something on Instagram. But this guy has no legs. He did this whole thing in a wheelchair. In a freaking wheelchair. Just using his hands to... It's crazy to think about this. He's just using his hands to move his wheelchair forward. And at a certain point, because of the mud, his wheelchair got stuck. So bro dragged his freaking wheelchair, right? Came off of it, dragged his wheelchair, and proceeded to go forward to complete his lap. He did 113 miles. 113 miles in like 24 something hours, I think. Maybe a bit more than that. On a freaking wheelchair. A wheelchair. Using his own hands. Not even his legs. And so I saw all that process, right? I saw that whole process. I saw the whole, documentation being done of this race. And I couldn't help but think, this is why I want to document my own journey. I felt so inspired. I felt so motivated. I was like, bro, what the hell am I doing with my life? Why am I not pushing myself? Why am I not going forth? And really just trying to see what I'm capable of, right? Trying to see what can I do with this mind, with this body, with this soul that, Allah gave me, God gave me. And so I realized the whole reason I want to document my journey is because I am right now in a state I don't want to be in. And there's a state I want to be in the future, inshallah. And I want to show this whole journey. Because if I look back at some YouTubers I look up to, in terms of fitness, SW_Grisha, or Grisha as he goes, if you actually speak about him, but SW_Grisha on all social platforms. I wish that guy would have documented his journey from the absolute start, absolute beginning. From the moment he discovered calisthenics and he started doing it regularly, I wish he documented his full journey, like in detail, from that point to where he is now. I wish he did that. So I could see him, start to mess around a bit with the planche. And, him realizing, guys, I'm not making any progress here. I'm stuck, you know, doing the tuck bench for months and months on end. Now I gotta go to the gym and I gotta strengthen my shoulders. I gotta build some muscle with my delts so I can actually achieve the full planche. And then him achieving the full planche a couple months after that. Like, I wish I could have seen that process in detail. I wish I could have seen his training programs. I wish I could have seen his mindset during that time, because then it allows me to place myself in that journey, because both of us are maybe on a similar goal. And so I get to place myself in that journey, and I get to see, okay, what did Grisha do when he was in my situation? Oh, let me just try and see if this thing works for me. Let me implement that, right? Exactly how he did it. Do you understand how valuable that is? And I imagine if David Lay did that, right? For his first 2 years, imagine if David Lay did that. I'm not sure if he did, but as far as I remember, he didn't. Imagine if David Lay actually did that. From the moment he started lifting to the moment he became this aesthetic freak, right? All of that journey in between, he's documented his thoughts, his lessons, his mindset. He's documented his training. He's documented his meals. He's documented, what he's doing. Like, I wish someone did that. Lex Little, for example. Like, I wish these people did that, But I haven't seen anyone do that. I haven't seen one person do that on YouTube, who's carried it throughout. The closest example I have is Nick Bare. Nick Bare has documented basically his entire journey on YouTube, but obviously not in a serious format. But he's documented his races, he's documented his preps, he's documented, his builds. He's documented all that. For example, recently, he documented his Ironman journey, right? Stuff like that is extremely valuable. Or, for example, Luke Hopkins. He's been documenting his journey training for an Ironman since last year. So you can go back a year, ago, and you can see the progress he's made when it comes to his Ironman, right? Alex Leonidas is one of the greatest examples that I have for someone who's documented his journey. Obviously, he hasn't documented it in the traditional sense of, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, obviously, but like, he still documented the journey, right? Where he's shown his journey from where he was to a 405 bench, then, being bare mode to shredded. Like, he's shown that, but I wish he showed that in more detail, more of as a, guys, this is what I'm doing, as opposed to, him being the authority he is, and then adding, a flavor of documentation on top of that. That's how I think about it. I'm like, this could inspire so many people. So many people make so many excuses about, oh man, I'm so fat, but I don't want to do anything about it. I can't do anything about it. I don't have the time. Like, so many people make these excuses, right? Or, for example, the people who used to be in shape, but then they fell off and they want to get back in shape, but it's very difficult for them, and so they can't seem to do so. I hope that maybe my whole journey can be a source of inspiration for them, a source of benefit for them, a source of motivation for them. Maybe they can place themselves in my journey, inshallah, and then they can see that, okay, what did Ali do here? He did that. Let me try that out. Like, do you understand how cool that is? Do you understand how epic that is? To be able to do that just because God gave you the internet and a phone to record. Like, do you understand like how epic that is? And then in the future, inshallah, I want to try out. I want to, run a couple marathons in the future, inshallah. Maybe an Ironman. Like, point is, like, I want to constantly get better, constantly evolve. And I want to share the whole process on YouTube and obviously on Instagram as well. Because Instagram stories allow you to record, your whole day basically. So, and that allows me to be a bit more intimate with this. But point is, like, imagine having the whole growth journey on YouTube. Or actually, no, I forgot this. But the best example of this, not in a fitness sense, but the best example of this is John Mark Stevenson, right? I'm not even gonna tell you what he did. Just go and watch yourself. But point is, seeing stuff like this is so motivating and it's so beneficial, because you can put yourself in that person's shoes in the specific time in their journey where they resembled your situation. And so it becomes like 100x more valuable. Because now, imagine this, right? Like, imagine you want to lose weight and you see, online someone's posted a testimony of their client, right? And this guy has the exact same stats as you, had the exact same beliefs as you before we started, had the exact same situation as you. You relate perfectly to this person, right? And that person lost 20 pounds in the course of a month, for example. Obviously, that's a drastic example, as an example, right? In a month, he lost 20 pounds. You would relate to that guy so much more that now you want to see, okay, what did he do? Why? Because you know that whatever he did, I can implement because I am the same as him, right? Or I'm very similar to him, right? that is what I hope to accomplish with this whole documentation thing, right? So I just wanted to go back and kind of fix the whole reason I started this, right? Because if I was in a weird mental state regarding YouTube and Instagram and just documenting my journey, and I was doing it for external reasons. But now I'm like, this is not only to benefit people, right? But this is also to look back upon. This is also for me to look back upon. Because think about this, right? Like, inshallah, God willing, when I turn 30, when I turn 40, inshallah, and I get to look back upon these very moments. Do you understand how epic that is? Do you understand how epic that is? I get to look back at the good old days, per se. You know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy that you get to do this via the internet, alhamdulillah. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, man, this is it. And also, like, I don't want to come off as someone who's like, I have it all figured out, or I don't want to portray a certain narrative. I don't want to, lead with a certain narrative or lead with a certain set of beliefs. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to be completely free. I want to be like water, basically, right? As Bruce Lee said, if you pour water in a cup, it becomes a cup. If you pour water in a jug, it becomes a jug, right? Like, point is, I want to be completely free so that I can see the problems that are arriving in my life, right? That are arriving when it comes to my fitness, and I can use any ideology to solve them. I don't want to fit myself to a certain ideology, because it's kind of pointless, right? Like, why would I do that when there are ideologies that could solve my problem better, for example, than the current one I'm holding? So point is, like, I don't want to do that. I want to be completely free and really find a solution for my problems, and then benefit you by sharing those solutions for that I've used to solve my problems. That is my concept with this, right? Like, and there's a lot to fix, by the way. There's a lot to fix, right? Like, for a quick example, right? Recently, I found out that, or I thought of this. I'm like, I'm not really making progress in fitness. Well, it's because of my habits, right? It's like almost 2 a.m. right now, and I'm up recording this. Like, you see what I mean? Like, if my habits are like that, if I'm sleeping super late every single day, I'm waking up super late every single day, I'm not in the right state of mind every single day, then how am I going to make progress towards my goals, right? Like, if I don't feel fire towards my goals, per se, right? When I think about them, then how am I going to make progress towards them, right? And then obviously, me sharing certain beliefs I have, obviously, because that's what you do, Like, if you want to attract people that are similar to you, then you have to share beliefs that are yours, Like, for example, why don't we just enjoy the things that we do, as opposed to constantly having to David Goggins discipline our way through it? You know what I mean? Like, simple stuff like that anyway. But point is, like, this is the path I want to take with this channel and with Instagram. Like, this is the path I want to take. It feels, sorry, there's a mosquito, but it feels the most authentic. It feels right, and it feels that I'm using this gift of the internet that God has given me to benefit people. And I'm doing that through sharing my journey. So that's why I wanted to make this video. Like, again, it's like almost 2 a.m. right now. I need to fix these habits. Why am I not being consistent? What is causing this? Like, I want to explore that for myself. And then whatever findings I have, whatever, things I learn and how I'm doing this, what's the whole process, like, I can share that. So if someone's going through the exact same thing, they can be like, holy crap, Ali just did this for himself, and I can use all this information for myself, and I save so much time. Like, yo, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, that is my whole idea behind this. So that being said, I'm going to stop yapping. And yeah, I'm going to go sleep. But let the journey begin. Bismillah.